But no, I eat usually around 10,000 calories a day, 12 chicken breasts a day, and 3 pounds of beef, about 8 meals a day. And I wake up and I have a breakfast of maybe 2 pounds of beef.
Imagine walking into a bodybuilding show and immediately feeling that something is off. Not because the athletes on stage aren't impressive. They are. Massive, disciplined, sculpted to near perfection. But then one man steps forward and suddenly the entire scale you use to judge the human body becomes meaningless. Conversations stop. The audience grows quiet. People don't cheer right away. They stare. What they're seeing doesn't look enhanced or exaggerated. It looks excessive, overgrown, almost unreal. This was the presence of Greg Kovacs.
Greg Kovacs from Ontario, Canada, maybe what you would call a fleecing giant, but has been able to develop his body into much more than just a big farmhand. He trains by himself in the basement of his parents' farmhouse. Greg is 6'2" and weighs nearly 300 pounds.
Greg Kovacs wasn't just another big bodybuilder. He was an outlier, a man whose size alone redefined what big meant in the sport. Standing close to 2 meters tall and weighing nearly 190 kilograms in the off-season, Greg looked less like an athlete and more like a living experiment. His arms measured over 25 inches. His chest stretched across his frame like it was barely contained. Even among professional bodybuilders, men already operating at the extremes of human development, Greg looked like something else entirely. From the moment his photos began circulating, the reaction was always the same: disbelief.
Yeah, working with Greg was actually an incredible experience. The camera will never justify his size, and it's just incredible to see the difference, the scale between an average man and Greg. It's just incredible. The man is incredibly humongous. He is just larger than life.
People questioned the camera angles. They questioned the scale. Some outright refused to believe the images were real, but they were. Greg Kovacs was exactly as massive as he appeared.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you see the bones kicking in now. Woo!
No tricks, no illusions, just raw, overwhelming mass. Born in Canada, Greg didn't start as a myth. He started like many others, lifting weights, building strength, chasing progress. But while most bodies respond gradually, Greg seemed to ignore natural limits.
I really wanted to get into a sport where it was individual, everything was up to you. I didn't like relying on other people. So I took up bodybuilding and I really enjoyed it.
Every phase of growth only fueled the desire for more. More muscle, more strength, more size. He wasn't aiming to be balanced. He wasn't aiming to be aesthetic. He was chasing the upper edge of what the human body could become. And he got there.
A lot of people think that you're just big and you're not strong. Or is it equal?
The bigger your muscles, the stronger the muscles. It goes in hand like that.
So it means that you are very strong.
Right.
Greg's strength was as legendary as his appearance. He moved weights that stunned experienced lifters.
I didn't realize how strong I was until one day I went to a powerlifting contest in my hometown. I was reading a magazine and it said Ted Arcidi, the strongest man in the world. And the top bench was 430 pounds. And I went up there and I benched it like 19 times. And then I walked out. I looked at the weight and I said, wait a minute, that's not very heavy.
Watching him train felt less like watching fitness and more like witnessing something primal, brute force overpowering iron. People didn't just admire him. They came to observe him, to see how far a human body could be pushed before something gave way. It wasn't long before the nickname followed him everywhere. The biggest bodybuilder who ever lived. Expectations skyrocketed. Surely a man this large would dominate the sport. Surely titles were inevitable. Surely the judging criteria would bend to accommodate a physique that extreme. But competitive bodybuilding has rules, and those rules don't reward size alone. Despite his unprecedented mass, Greg Kovacs never conquered the professional stage.
The heavyweight division saw the American premiere of Greg Kovacs, a 270-pound freak from Canada. He consumes an unbelievable 15,000 calories a day in his off-season, one of the strongest bodybuilders alive at the mere age of only 21. And would you believe he's weighing 320 pounds right now?
He competed in major IFBB shows and failed to place at the top. Sometimes he didn't even come close. To fans, this was almost offensive. How could someone so massive not win? The answer lies in the uncomfortable truth about bodybuilding. The sport isn't about who is biggest, it's about who is best built. Symmetry, proportion, conditioning, control. And Greg's physique, while shocking, was also difficult to refine. His muscles were enormous, but not always sharply detailed. His structure was overwhelming, but not always harmonious. What made him unforgettable also made him hard to judge favorably. His body was beyond the system, and the system didn't know what to do with him. Still, Greg Kovacs became a legend without trophies. His name was spoken with awe, curiosity, and sometimes concern. He represented the extreme edge of bodybuilding, the unanswered question. How far is too far? How much mass can a human frame truly support? Because behind the spectacle, the cost was building. A body weighing nearly 190 kilograms doesn't function like a normal one. The heart works relentlessly, pumping blood through an enormous system under constant strain. Organs operate under pressure they were never designed for. Recovery becomes slower. Sleep becomes essential but insufficient. Every meal turns into a logistical challenge. Every workout becomes a calculated risk. The pursuit of extreme size demands constant sacrifice, and the body keeps track of everyone. Eventually, Greg stepped away from competition. Officially, the chapter ended. But the damage of years spent at the edge doesn't vanish when the stage lights go off. The stress remains, the strain lingers, the body remembers. In November of 2013, the news spread quickly through the fitness world. Greg Kovacs had passed away. He was only 44 years old. The cause, a heart attack. For many, it felt inevitable. For others, it was still shocking, because Greg didn't look fragile. He didn't look weak. He looked indestructible. And yet, like so many before and after him, his body reached a point where it could no longer sustain the load. His death forced a reckoning within bodybuilding culture. Not just mourning reflection, it raised questions that had long been ignored. About extremes, about longevity, about the price of pushing beyond what nature intended. Greg Kovacs didn't die on stage. He didn't collapse under a barbell. He died quietly, away from the applause. And that contrast is what makes his story linger. Today, his name still comes up whenever size is discussed. Whenever someone asks, who was the biggest? Greg Kovacs is part of the answer, but the tone has changed. It's no longer just admiration, it's caution. Because his story isn't only about muscle, it's about obsession, about ambition without restraint, about what happens when more becomes the only goal. Greg didn't fail because he wasn't disciplined enough. He didn't fall short because he lacked drive. He didn't lose because he wasn't strong enough. He lost because the human body has rules and no amount of muscle can rewrite them. He pushed farther than most people ever will. He crossed lines others never dared to approach. And in doing so, he showed both the incredible potential of the human body and its absolute limits. Did you find this video interesting? Don't forget to like and subscribe.
So I thought, wow, I must be a lot stronger than most people. That's when I first realized maybe I'm different than other people, you know.